Everybody. It's so awkward to say what's up, everybody, in the beginning of a video because I'm the only body here, but on replay, there'll be bodies. So I don't know if you guys watched the creation video of this geoid. Loved making it. Loved doing this center with this mixture that we put on it. I think it makes it look a lot more real. What's up, Carrie? But I got a lot of questions about how to finish out the edge. And so I told everybody that I would do a video on creating a rock edge. And that's what today will be. So let me pull up my chat feed. I hope you've all had a super awesome day full of all the awesomeness. Heidi made a live from Denmark. I want to go to Denmark one day. One day. All right. This beast is heavy. So let me give you a close-up of what I did prior to going live so you guys could, so I could do different parts of it. So I went ahead and added, let me start over. I am doing this with two different things just to show you can do different things. So you can use Bondo, but I'm not doing that inside because I have puppies and it's very smelly. For this demo, I had grout on hand as well as some modeling paste, both of which you can get either in the store in your area or online. So, how do you love the States? But I super want to go to Denmark. So this is what the modeling paste looks like. It's still wet because I only did it like an hour ago. So it's wet on the underside, but dry on the top side. So if I wanted to, I could kind of mold it around and make it do different things at this point. What I've been doing lately is taking some stiff like butcher paper and crumpling it and just basically stamping the texture into it. Focus. And I'm doing the sides as well. I'll probably end up building up the sides so that there's not this right angle here. It kind of just rounds out. And this one is the grout. You can see it has a lot more of a gritty texture. It also dries a lot quicker. But this feels like it has like sand in it, which probably does have something like sand in it. So it's very much still soft, and then I stamped the paper in it to give this look. Once this is dry, I'm going to sand it back to take some of the high points off. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I apply it and how I'm going to make it look more like stone and not just have stone texture. I'm going to get you guys down on a better eye level. All right, so I'm going to show you what the modeling paste looks like first. So it looks a lot like, what's that stuff? Coconut oil, stuff people do pulling with, or maybe like a cream cheese or Crisco. It's very smooth. It feels like cream cheese or porcelain, but it is a modeling paste, so you can create something with it and then it's going to dry with that form. It's very smooth, unlike the grout. But you apply them roughly the same way. What's up, Shannon? I feel like this may be useful for you, Shannon, for your signs. but I'm just going to smear it on like I would if it was actually cream cheese on a bagel. I heard someone say that they called it a bagel the other day. Do you guys say bagel or bagel? No, not just the community, but someone else already said it. I mean, said it around me as well. And also, I'm going to bring, sorry about all the movement. I'm going to bring some of it out onto the surface as well. The grout is probably a more economical, budget-friendly version of this. Modeling paste is a lot more expensive. So you can just rock your, I'm using a palette knife, but you can use an actual knife if you want to, but I'm using a palette knife because it's handy. So you can just rock it back and forth and create some texture, because rocks have just a funky texture anyways. Or you can use the bag, or not bag, words. What was that thing I just showed you? The butcher paper. In my opinion, the just rocking back and forth works better with modeling paste. And then the using a paper bag or butcher paper, I guess you could probably even use newspaper, is better with the grout. I'm trying to pre-round these edges just to make my job more simple after this layer dries. And also, it's best to kind of build up. You don't want to just dollop a whole bunch of whatever texture medium you're using onto your piece, because it's going to just take a lot longer to dry, or the outside will dry and the inside will be still squishy. All right, so that I haven't tried the Great Stuff spray foam. I have tried a spray foam, but I kind of liked building my texture up with this rather than kind of carving it back. But I can do a video on using a spray foam as well, if you guys are so inclined or so interested. What's up, Arlene? How have you been? Do you need to seal your texture medium? I'm going to spray seal this, not for the texture medium, but because I want to seal in the colorant that I'm going to use. Even though it's probably just going to, stain my texture and not wear off. Better safe than sorry a lot of the time. And so I'm going to seal it just for sealing in the color. Also, it's worth noting that the grout doesn't like to stick as easily as the modeling paste. I did sand the rim of the piece a little bit before starting the video. I just used, I think, a 220. So there's a little bit of extra frustration when using the grout, but I guess it kind of works like Bondo does, because sometimes Bondo doesn't want to stick right away. So this is very similar. I also feel like I could probably use that foam stuff that cosplayers use. I think it's like foam clay or something like that. But I haven't gotten my hands on any yet. So there's little bits where it's kind of not going all the way down to the substrate, and there's bits that are just poking out a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. I actually like that because then I have a lot more to play with when I sand everything down. If it's all the same looking texture and there's no levels, it's kind of a boring look, in my opinion. And also be advised that this is for artwork. If I was doing a rock edge or a live edge on a countertop, then I would use Bondo because it's, I would imagine, way more durable than any of these art mediums that I'm using here today. Dixie mud. What is Dixie mud? If Dixie mud or Great Stuff Spray Foam are watching, send me your goods. I'd love to review. Okay, so that's how you apply it. And now we're going to color it. I would go all the way around, but people would get bored. I'm going to go all the way around it, and I'll probably do a video on that process. Oh, that's awesome, TG. Thank you. But yeah, I'm going to finish it up in a later video because my little girl dog came in heat today, not too long ago, and we're dealing with that. So moving on, I'm going to be using some DR inks. You could probably use a watercolor. You could probably use alcohol inks. Use whatever you want, whatever you got. So I'm going to just kind of brush on some of this dye. You can use whatever color you want. This is a sepia. And then once I have some down, I'm going to dry off my brush a little bit and then just use what I have down to color the rest of it. And then also later I will do a lot of other stuff to it to create a more realistic texture. So using an ink or a dye or just a really, really watered down acrylic like this will give you depth without having to do too much because it's going to seep into the cracks that you have. Like this. And start to create depth. So that was on top of the modeling paste. And now we're going to do some on top of this grout. And now canvas is growing up. It's scary and awesome. All right, so we're going to do it the same way and start with just straight dye directly on our grout. Now we're just going to dip our brush in some water and go over it. You can also use like a foam brush like this one. It looks like this has so much texture that you're not going to be able to see the cracks and fault lines as well as the smoother one. So let's just dilute this a little bit more. Maybe we'll see more texture come up. This is basically my base layer, and then I go over it with other colors as well. Darker browns, lighter browns, maybe some yellows, a little bit of black. So now it's starting to soak in so that we can see all the cracks that are existing. And again, that just helps to create that realistic rocky look. And since it's water-based, if I do accidentally get some on my actual art out here, I can just wipe it off with like a watered down paper towel. And then the same goes for the side or the edge. I'm not going to do too much to the edge because I want to build it up some more. But I want you guys to know what I'm talking about. Isn't it crazy that this color and all of the other color is the same? It's just really concentrated here and we diluted it on top. So if I go in with some water and come back, it'll lighten it. But we've already deposited that darker color into the cracks. So it's essentially glazing it or antiquing it, depending on what kind of like art background you have. And if you only have one color of brown, then just add bits of that same color in different areas. Because if you look at a rock, it's not really the same tone or color all the way around. It's got variances, and that ultimately will give you the most realistic look no matter what you're doing. Each medium has kind of a different color hue. I don't know why, but it does. And then also when the color is absorbed into the different medium, it changes there as well. I'm just going to get some of my watercolor real quick just to add a little bit of other colored depth. Just to show you it can be done. As I say that, it's not accepting the color. I just tend to chop in different colors while everything is still wet. That way everything will kind of blend out and into each other. It's probably good to have a reference when doing this, but also for me, when I use a reference, sometimes I get really too obsessed or into making it look exactly like what I'm looking at in the reference, and then it just doesn't. It's like I'm taking a step backwards when I try to get ultra detailed into something. Like I should have stopped way sooner. So for me personally, I have greater success I think, kind of idealizing what something looks like. And if you find that your colors aren't starting to blend together, then just dab some water onto it and it'll kind of melt into itself. Diluted ultramarine blue will change brown to gray spots. I thought I dropped you guys. I don't think I knew that. Thank you for that little tip, Arlene. So that's what it looks like on the grout. Now with the modeling paste, since it's kind of flatter, it's smoother. It's going to be easier to blend your colors, but also any mistakes are going to be more visible as well because it's so smooth. But just like on the other one, I'm just kind of dabbing it on. And again, these are watercolors, so they're very fluid. You can make glazes or washes with acrylic paints that are really watered down. You don't have to get watercolors or inks. It's just what I had handy. For some reason, it's making me think about, I watch a lot of videos on how did they do it and stuff. Brain head media, essentially. And I was watching how they take pictures of like food for advertisements. And they did this piece of chicken that was supposed to look like grilled chicken, I guess. And it was raw, but they just dyed it essentially how I'm doing right now. And so now this does not any longer look like a rock. It makes me think of a piece of chicken. And I know that's weird. I'm fine with it. We're family here, so I thought I'd be honest about where my brain was right now. And it's chicken. What, big boy? Want to get down? Okay. So yeah. Same paints, but with different textures, it's going to look completely different. And all that will blend out. Oh my goodness, Keith. I'm so not a master, and I don't do rock edges that often, but it's going to be on this one. Now, I'm going to take you and show you what it looks like with a bondoed rock edge, and I assume that it will look similar to, I didn't sleep a lot last night with my cranky girl dog, so apologies. I look like a whole mess. I'm going to show you what my Bondo edge looks like and what an edge that's mostly completed looks like. So this one was done with Bondo. I painted it brown and then I went over it with bronze paint to give it a little bit of shine. I don't know if you guys can see the shine. But this one is done on foam. And so after it's dried fully, that's when I would paint it. And then, but only after you kind of sand down some high points. And I really like creating a lot of high textures so that when you sand it down, It looks kind of like filigree. So, okay, so look what this looks like. I mean, not exactly what it looks like, but kind of that overlapping detail. And it reminds me a little bit of an exaggerated, well, this is an exaggerated that, where you can see a whole lot of depth in the piece, but it's smooth in the texture. I hope that makes sense. I don't even know if it does, but this is what I go for with my rock edge on a geode. Now this isn't completely finished. I still need to do a lot to it, but it looks shiny and new age, but rustic. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different textures. Hey, ma'am. Hi. So I just wanted to give you guys that little video of how I'm going to finish out that piece. I'm going to do a full time lapse process of it. Thank you. She kept me up all night, you guys. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of info. Canvas kisses Cam, right? On how I finish out the edges of my geode. So this one is on foam as opposed to how the other one is, but I'm going to do it just the same, even though this is done with Bondo. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this quickie video. Sorry it wasn't more super in-depth. I wanted to give you guys a video while having to deal with, that's very true, Emma, but she's mostly husky with just a pinch of palm. And I know she doesn't feel good. So we're going to go back to pampering her while I work on a digital markup for a big commission I have coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video for what it was. And I hope you have an awesome evening. Be kind to one another because you never know what someone's going through. And always remember that we do the tests so you don't have to. And I'll see you guys for an actual full length video tomorrow. You say bye? Not going to say bye? Okay. Well, everyone said they love you, Miss Ma'am. All right, guys. Bye.